Do the Sunday scaries play a large part in your weekend experience? You know that feeling where Sunday evening starts to roll around and all you can think about is the fact that you've got work tomorrow and you don't know what's in store for you, and you're spending a lot of time and anxiety kind of just thinking about work instead of enjoying the last moments of your weekend? Well, if this is true for you, then today's episode is something that you're going to want to hear. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. The Sunday Scaries. You've heard of them. Heck, you probably have them. But if you haven't, well, the Sunday Scaries is that term for that ball of anxiety right in the back of your head that comes every Sunday night when you start to worry about next week and everything that's on your plate next week. And then you don't get to actually enjoy your Sunday evening because you're too anxious thinking about the week ahead. Sound familiar? But did you know that there's a surefire way to banish these Sunday Scaries for good? Seriously, there is. In order to make the Sunday Scaries a distant memory for you, there's a simple practice that you can put into place this week. It starts on Friday and it's called End of Week Planning. Very sexy title, I know. But before I get into how to do it, I want to share with you why it works so well. So, end of week planning has two primary benefits. The first one is that once you've done it, you have a plan for the next week, right? It'll be much easier to mentally disconnect from work and enjoy your weekend, right? That's the goal. Enjoy your weekend, manage those Sunday scaries. But it has another benefit too. So on Monday, you get to start your work in execution mode because you already know exactly what you need to do versus the alternative, which is sitting at your laptop and trying to figure out where you are, where you're going to start, or worse, starting with email and never quite making it out of your inbox. So now that you know why this practice works, let's talk about how to actually do it. So first, you're going to want to open your task list wherever you keep track of your to-dos, whether that's an app or a spreadsheet or even paper, right? You're going to want to open that up, and then you're going to want to open up your calendar. You want to have these side by side. And then what you're going to want to do is to take a look at your schedule for next week and take a look at that task list. And you're going to assign yourself work based on the time that you have available, right? So instead of, trying to get done 50 things on Tuesday when you really only have an hour in between meetings, you're going to move things around so that it's realistic. You're going to assign yourself work based on the time you have available on each available day. And of course, the deadlines of all the work that you've got to get done, right? So we're going to use those two things to figure out when we're going to do the work. Now, you get bonus points if you time block this on your calendar, because this is going to help you see what you actually need to do. Essentially, you just want to make sure that, if you have a day to back-to-back meetings, well, you're not expecting yourself to make a ton of headway on that big project. And if you've miraculously got a day with a few hours of blissfully unscheduled time, well, that's when you're going to want to plan to do that deep work. And you're going to want to protect it now because otherwise, meetings are going to get scheduled over it. As you're going through your task system, you want to be ruthlessly realistic about what fits into next week on every day. This is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, or maybe a lot uncomfortable, because you're going to be experimenting with accepting that you can't do everything that you want to in the limited time that you have. But if you can get over this hump, if you can accept that, it'll be well worth it, I promise. And you'll want to make sure that you're accounting for the time it takes to get all of that regular stuff done too, right? Like processing your email, your Slack, or your Teams messages, any other standard tasks that you do regularly, right? You also don't want to forget that you're going to need time to eat and pee and, do all of the things that our bodies need, right? You want to factor that in when you're thinking about your week. And this is why you're going to have to be ruthlessly realistic about what's going to fit. Now, would it surprise you to know that end of week planning is my absolute favorite thing that I do every week? I mean, probably not, right? I bet you know what a huge nerd I am by now. But I want to tell you why this is my favorite task. So it's my favorite task because once I'm done with end of week planning, I know that I have a whole weekend to enjoy without the specter of the Sunday scaries looming. And now I really love my job. I really, really, really actually do. But I don't want to think about it on the weekends, right? And when I do end of week planning, I don't have to think about it again until Monday. I get to enjoy my weekend guilt free, knowing that everything in my task list has a next action date of Monday or the future. So, what do you say? Are you willing to give end of week planning a try? I'd love to know how it works for you if you test it out. And I have one last tip for you. Don't wait until Friday at 5 p.m. to do this. It's the last thing that you want to do when you're just wiped from the week. You want to do it sometime on Friday morning or even Thursday afternoon. And if you're feeling inspired, go ahead and time block the time right now to do this and commit to testing it out for this week. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, I've got a little something else you might want to know about. I want you to check out my free class, 3 Secrets for Always Having Enough Time for Your Work, Your Family, and most importantly, yourself. It's short, it's practical, it's packed with strategies that you can use right away, and it's free. You can grab your spot at the link in the show notes or at alexishasselberger.com. See you next time.